Welcome back, everyone, to another Hearts of Iron 4 China. Kaiserreich, China. There's a bunch of things that we can do, apparently, from the... Anyways, the fate of Korea. Put it up. There we go. There we go. Glorious Republic of Korea. KNRP. Korean National Revolutionary Party. Don't really know too much about them, but, you know, they were basically the Korean KMT. It's kind of funny. Because both in Korea and in Vietnam, there was a kind of KMT sister party, I guess you would say. What is going on? Okay, I guess Korea has a focus tree? Really now? I didn't know that they actually had a focus tree. Well, I sure hope you don't pardon Kim Sok-won and the collaborators. Kim Sok-won, by the way, was a Japanese or Korean-Japanese collaborator, and he became one of the main generals of the ROK, actually. So, yeah, not exactly great for the ROK. Okay, I mean, they've got this, I swear. Korea was liberated by a national populist state. Not Korea was liberated by a national populist state. Okay, I mean, yeah, I am not national populist. I mean, not yet. I don't know. Wait, what? I love how they cannot do martial law because they weren't liberated by a reactionary regime, and they cannot encourage democratic principles because was not liberated by a democratic state. I guess we're just, you know, we're just not democratic. It is what it is. Anyways, yeah, you guys don't have the visions. Can I lend lease you? I should probably lend lease these guys so they can, you know, they can build up or something. Oh god, there is always the issue of, there is always the issue of, like, sending people shit. What do we have here? The occupation of Hanko. Oh, it's probably the occupation of the legations. That's... Okay, I'll send the fucking thing. So, the occupation of Hanko. I'm gonna be a little bit more paying attention to the events now, once again, because, again, the third repatriated Congress that is going on is going to be popping off events, I'm guessing. So, the torches shone bright as the procession marched just after dusk. In the town of Hanko, one of the freemen that make up Wuhan, up here, sat a German concession established in 1895 in exchange for German support against Japan. The inland concession in China are a remnant of the terrible international mandate system that plagued China in a 600 mu, which is a traditional Chinese sort of measurement, land measurement system, reminder of the century of humiliation. Facing the advance of the Kuomintang, most foreigners fled, leaving the concession effectively abandoned. Yet, due to fears of international condemnation, the cities were untouched during the Second Northern Expedition, which is actually unlike the Northern Expedition in our timeline, where there was a... there were a few incidents. I don't remember which one was the main sort of one that really got the West super horrified. I don't remember if it was Hanko or Nanchang or... hell, maybe Nanjing itself, actually. I don't think it was Nanjing, but yeah, there was an incident where basically the Chinese nationalist forces, even though they were, you know, even though this was Chiang Kai-shek's nationalists, did basically take over one of the concessions and yeah, sort of annexed it, I guess, back to China. And, you know, it was all sorts of international condemnations. Like, how dare they, you know? How dare they? Nationalist government decided to respect their sovereignty for the time being, waiting for a better time for negotiations. For many soldiers and students, however, even this was too much. With the Japanese driven out of China in a deadly war, the nation has seen an upswing in nationalism. Tapping into this energy is the China Revival Society, an ultra-nationalistic band of officers who have denounced the concession of Hankou as void in the context of the Kuomintang's anti-imperialist policies. Spurred on by Hu Zhongnan, a large detachment of CRS officers, China Revival Society, marched into the concession areas of the city, targeting the German concession in particular as revenge for their role in the first northern expedition. Initially a disciplined formation, they were soon joined in by mobs of locals who proceeded to break windows and etc, etc, etc. Well. Alright then. Oh no! You're angry at me. Wow, I wonder why. Yeah, can't... That's actually a bit of a problem because now I cannot get their fucking rubber. Let's get the rubber from Indonesia, I suppose. And increase the trade with Russia. Avenging the humiliations. The aftermath of the Hankou riot has reverberated across China as heated discussions about its implications fill the air. Many are horrified by the mob violence, while plenty of other groups are jealous of the attention the CRS received, believing them to be taking undue credit for the entire party's anti-imperialist efforts. Whatever the case, Wang has remained strategically silent as the country braces for imitators. Over the last few days, China has fallen into another wave of instability as riots have broken out throughout major Chinese cities, especially near the ports. I would want to reduce the radicalism somehow. Really? Really, everything is increasing. Shouldn't the OCC donations decrease the radicalism? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. I thought that those decreased things. Anyways, let's stockpile political power because I'm sure it might come in handy. Let's improve the influence of the PAC. Anyways, yes, as the mob violence spreads, they've begun to break down across factional lines. Socialist mobs have extended the campaign against capitalist oppressors, terrorizing the bourgeoisie neighborhoods and commercial districts. Nationalist groups have even cast our MMIC advisors as foreign imperialists, taking a strident anti-European and anti-foreign tone. Many, in particular the CRS, accuse the LCS of being puppets of foreign control. With the situation spiraling out of control, the military has finally been deployed to restore order, with a few curfews declared and more discipline units sent in. The chaos has been brought to a close, but not before an MMIC officer was found dead. Oh god. Nanjing incident. In the aftermath of several days of rioting, there have been numerous casualties, but none as damaging as an advisor of the Mission Militaire Internationale in Chine. Although most of the MMIC officers have escaped unharmed, their headquarters was raided and ransacked during the unrest, apparently abandoned by Chinese security. I don't need to do that. I know I can get a decision to declare on them. 3 were wounded in the evacuation and 1 was killed. The untimely fallen one was Jean Fontenoy, head of the training department. A decorated officer during the Great War and French Revolution, he was sent to China as part of the original mission. A writer, playboy, and opium addict, it was said that he was considered at one point for head of the mission, but was passed over due to growing addition and sympathies for Sorelian movement. This attribute and his hands-on approach seems to have won some members over of the CRS, who came to pay their last respects before his body is sent home. André Marot, the head of the mission, is outraged at the death of his former rival and has lashed out against what he believes to be a deliberate attempt against the lives of his men. Okay. Alright, so what do we have? As if things couldn't get much worse, a series of documents now dubbed the February Instructions have made the front page news in major cities. The leakers, who have chosen to remain anonymous, claim that they were taken from leading MMIC advisor M.N. Roy's office. In them include a series of telegrams apparently from Paris, which contain a series of demands to be delivered to Wang Jingwei at an appropriate opportunity, ostensibly to help him consolidate power and maintain the International's support. The All China Federation of Labor, affiliated with the Chinese Syndicalist Party, is to be legalized, and all Chinese unions placed under it. An influx of syndicalists must be recruited into the army and syndicalist-aligned officers promoted. Officers to old guard must be retired forcibly if necessary. Likewise, the party must be cleansed of those with old mindsets, replaced with younger socialists trained abroad. Revolutionary military courts must be established to punish reactionaries. The original leak has been tracked down to newspapers connected with the Chinese Revival Society, particularly Qiantu, but it has quickly been picked up by PAC and RF affiliated papers. Okay. Oh boy. It's beginning to become very interesting, I would say. Beginning to become very, very interesting. The timing is incredibly suspicious, and the contents have been denounced as a forgery by Roy. Roy notes that he has been with the revolution since the beginning and has close ties with both factions in the party. But with the MMIC on the defensive, Li Jishen, the leader of the China Revival Society, has taken the advantage of the moment to break his silence since the Nanjing incident. In a thundering speech, he has demanded the International military mission promptly expelled, claiming that they wish to take advantage of their comrade's death to initiate a power grab. He has produced a long list of officers who have threatened to resign in protest if the prejudiced investigation into the alleged India clique, because Emin Roy is from India, I suppose, proceeds with his name at the top of the list. Conversely, however, if the MMIC is expelled, it is expected that many of the thousands of officers they have trained with will resign in solidarity. So... we really do not want the radicalism to increase. So, yeah, we're gonna... Oh, we just lost. Yeah, we just lost quite a few generals. We're gonna promote... It's time to promote Lin Biao. Well, shit. Let's see how things progress. Because, yeah, there is basically just, like, political struggle going on about the whole, Third Repatriated Congress. And, yeah, we're gonna... It seems like we're gonna get bombarded with events, like, slowly but surely. So, you know... I'm sure it's going to be very, very interesting. We still have 80 days left until the end of the Repatriated Congress, and I'm guessing that we're going to have more options to... we're going to have more options to do things. Wang's opening speech. So, the Third National Congress of the Chinese Kuomintang has officially been convened in the grand capital city of Nanjing. Oh, Japan is removed from the Legation Council. Really? That's kind of interesting. Heralding the start of a new age for the Republic of China. At long last, the Great War of Resistance against the Japanese imperialists has been concluded and the region of Manchuria restored properly to the Chinese nation. Chairman Wang Yunwei once more took to the stand under a grandiose portrait of Dr. Sun Yat-sen and the flags of the party draped along his sides. What was different, however, was a newly commissioned portrait of the chairman that was placed strategically to the right of the eternal premier. A move that was marked with looks of scorn and anger by members of the PAC. Well, I would imagine why. Wang began his speech by thanking the party for following true the principles of Dr. Sun Yat-sen and for the martyrs who had sacrificed their lives for the war of resistance. While the revolution's phase of military rule is hereby concluded with the NRA's recent victory over the Japanese, the revolution's party rule must continue, as Wang warned of reactionaries within the party who threatened to destabilize it. Nonetheless, a party reshuffle is bound to happen with the election of a new Central Executive Committee and a chairman anticipated to happen. While he has long remained apolitical from the quarrels of the RCA and the PAC, he concluded in his opening remarks that he believed that a new reorganization of the party is needed to emulate the same changes to the party in 1924, which is when in our timeline the KMT became more organized along Leninist lines, although I guess in this timeline it's a little less Leninist and, I don't know, more whatever the fuck syndicalism is supposed to be. I still don't know. He denounced the conservatives within the India clique and the Reconstruction faction as degenerate forces, stifling the spirit of reorganization. This spirit has won the Second Northern Expedition. Wang concluded his remarks with a firm acknowledgement that while the United Front policy with the Chinese syndicalists was not an aspect of the first reorganization, it was a grave mistake if the denunciation of the policy should lead to the rejection of the spirit of the reorganization. That's a bit convoluted. While scores of cheers rang out from delegates of the RCA and members of the CSP, only polite applause was heard from the PAC's section of the Congress, while members of the World Society and Reconstruction faction stayed silent. An inauspicious start. So, a league divided. Oh. The PAC will be strengthened proportionate to the syndicalist popularity. Oh, okay. For years, the League of Chinese Syndicalists has adopted the French political methodology of the Syndicalist Compromise, with its multiple factions and unions coalescing under a shared alliance of the proletarian struggle. Cooperating with the Chinese Kuomintang in strikes such as the Hong Kong Canton strikes of 1925, which is a historical thing and a very interesting one as well as the Shanghai Uprising of 1932, very different, I suppose, from the Shanghai Uprising of 1927 in real life. The policy of the Chinese socialists outside the Kuomintang has long been one of convenience, especially due to the instruction of parents in London. With the Kuomintang's victory in the Second Northern Expedition and the War of Resistance, the League has grown noticeably in terms of influence, and now it finds itself being courted by the Provisional Action Committee and the Reorganized Commerce Association in their struggle for dominance of the party. Amongst the factions of the League of Chinese Syndicalists, the Orthodox faction and of the Chinese Syndicalist Party has grown in much strength over the years, with its members Chen Duxiu, Li Dajiao, and Li Lisan, who are extremely important in the early CCP, controlling most of the LCS's functions and directions. Now they're faced with the decision of whether or not to support Chairman Wang's new declaration of reorganization. With their influence, they can most surely tip up the scales for both PAC and the RCA, and they say that Wang has become too much of a danger. So they will side with the PAC. Well, I certainly want... Wow, that has given a lot of juice to the Political Action Committee. I would certainly want them to be prevailing also along with the PAC, so that I can get actually the PAC syndicalist path with the with Song Qinling, which is, I think, going to be really good. I do not have the required network strength. Well, fuck off. Anyways, we also have the liberals push on. Oh no! Oh no, I hate the social liberals. Yeah, Sun Fo. I talked about Sun Fo a little bit. You know, Sun Yat-sen's son. They have the liberals. I tried to crush them as much as possible. And oh, I guess there's just a lot of PAC going on right now. The Long Shadow. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, all right. Let's see what's going on. So outside the convention halls, the fixers and schemers operate. These lobbyists were hoped by some to be confined to corrupt bourgeois democracies and the degenerate Beiyang establishment, but they are unfortunately alive and well in nationalist China. Wielding carefully placed gifts, promises of job prospects, and a wide array of threats, which they may or may not be able to back up, they've engaged in negotiations with the wives, uncles, and friends of the delegates. But these are perhaps the least of the budding Chinese democracy's worries. Operating in even more underhanded methods are the scurrying agents of the Lao Ban, who cast a long shadow over the convention. Politicians boast about their plots and plans, but few can match the sheer ruthlessness and violence of China's spy masters, who have battled in the dark on behalf of their factions. There are multiple reports of delegates who have decided to resign their seats in advance of the convention for health reasons, which is a recurring theme on my channel, and numerous cases of sudden shifts in allegiances. Tragically, however, there is little time time or energy to investigate this epidemic of poor health, blah, 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 etc. Observers have noted that this Congress has the first appearance of what seems to be the CRS-aligned caucus. Led by former student radicals and army officer Liu Butong, they are joined by minor party celebrity Jiang Jingguo, the firstborn son of Chiang Kai-shek. Okay. Oh, really? We have Jiang Jingguo. Okay, I did not know that Jiang Jingguo was around. Okay. This group is believed to be the source of multiple sordid rumors going on around the Congress about Wang, accusing him tales of betrayal, corruption, and even murder, notably of the late headmaster. He has murdered Chiang Kai-shek, and we are going to lose 22% stability, and we're going to also gain 22% totalism? Damn. Yeah, we just gained a shitload of totalism. 中国国民党中华复兴时. Damn. The impeachment vote. At long last, enough was enough. Since before the opening of the Third Congress, the Provisional Action Committee has gotten to work to ensure that the Chinese democracy does not die with the dictatorial designs of Wang. PAC and WMARCA? WMARCA? Oh, I guess it's part of the RCA. I don't know. Members have secretly threatened, bribed, and cajoled members of Congress to vote in favor of the PAC's attempt to upstage Wang. They've reached out to members of the League of Chinese Syndicalists, the Reconstruction faction, and even some RCA moderates, scrounging every vote they can in their favor. With an unprecedented volume of votes from the members of the Congress, high-ranking members of the PAC, such as Deng Yanda and Zhang Bojun, have presented to the Central Supervisory Committee of the Central Committee, which I love whenever in Chinese politics you have these, like, Central Executive Committee of the Executive Committee. It's always amazing. It happens to this day with the CCP, and I'm guessing with the KMT as well. The man in the case of Wang Jingwei's failure to carry out duties as acting chairman. With the four elders of the Kuomintang making up all but one of the Central Supervisory Committee members, impeachment was inevitable. However, a conviction requires a vote by the entire Congress, and that remains up in the air. Without it, impeachment by the Supervisory Committee holds little weight. With the charges delivered, Song Qingling herself has gotten up out of her seat to denounce Wang in the name of her husband. While Wang may surely have been a comrade of Dr. Sun's, Song declared that Wang must resign at once in order to end the phase of tutelage. The Congress lies stunned in silence as Wang Jingwei stands up to defend himself. The die is cast. Well, holy shit. Wang is ousted from power. So, Wang stood up to the podium and came out swinging. He knew his enemies were up to something and was ready for a fight. With considerable gusto and a well-practiced eloquence, he began the speech of his lifetime before a room of over 1,000 comrades. And yet, as he spoke, even a veteran politician like Wang could not avoid stumbling as he looked around the room. The sheer hatred and antipathy in the eyes of so many of the delegates was a frightening sight, their withering glares betraying angry souls. They had already made up their minds long before the Congress. His time was up as chairman, and he knew it. All he could do now was bow out with grace, saving what little dignity he had left. He ended his speech quietly, thanking his audience for being his comrades of so many years, leaving the stage crestfallen. In the vote that came, he stood stoic and solemn as the delegates moved to convict. By a thin but decisive margin, the Kuomintang's decades-long chairman was deposed by the opposition. The stunned room was moved quietly and mechanically as a successor was chosen. Song Qingling was nominated and ran uncontestedly. By the next morning, Song Qingling was sworn in as president, and China had a new leader at its helm. In one swift, coordinated move, the PAC gambit proved to be a success, the RCA reeling too hard to do anything to stop them. Yet. Well, okay. Okay there. Oh boy. Oh, here we are. Damn. Look at that. Look at that portrait. Holy shit. Yeah, we still are in the third repatriated Congress, though. We still do not have any other focus tree due to, you know... Wait, what the fuck? Wait, what the fuck? Oh. Oh, I'm being kicked out because the fucking Japanese are attacking Shanghai. Can I take the fucking legations? No? What the fuck? Oh no. Actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense since I cannot defend them anymore. Fuck. Oh shit. I cannot defend these guys anymore. Shit. So I guess the Japanese are gonna fucking retake the legations or something. Anyways, the rising backlash. Oh fuck. So we have our own issues, I guess. In the days that follow, an eerie calm fell over Nanjing. A quiet before the gathering storm. Wang Jingwei and his wife retreated to their private residence and have not been heard of from since. The word on the street is that the former chairman has fallen into a deep depression, feeling betrayed by the party he has sacrificed so much for, and has hardly been rousable from bed, which is understandable. His allies, however, have not been so meek. Cheng Gongbo and others are determined. The RCA will not go down without a fight. They've taken to the airwaves, denouncing the events at the Third Repatriated Congress as an armed coup. RCA member after RCA member testify on RCA land radio channels and newspapers of being intimidated into voting for impeachment. Sordid rumors of an affair between Deng Yanda and the new president have spread. Okay, alright, obviously. And her opponents have accused her of being a puppet for the military. Already, the Executive Yuan has received a series of resignations by Wang appointees, crippling the bureaucracy. In the military and across the bureaucracy, officers have openly flouted commands by the new leadership, defying orders from Li Jishen, who has been entrusted by Song as war minister, one of the few appointees she has made so far. The senior leadership of the CSP have waffled in the face of the latest drama, but, well, obviously, they're syndicalists, but many of the radicals have begun organizing wildcat strikes along with RCA-aligned unions as chaos engulfs the country, which is hilarious because they were supporting the RCA? Okay. Interesting. What's going on? Alright. Well, I mean, I'm certainly prepared for madness, most likely, to be completely honest. The RCA strikes back. Outside the presidential palace, the sounds of protests have only gotten worse over the last few days as RCA and CSP radicals have agitated against the new government. Riots have broken out in cities across the country, fanned out by a heavy-handed response by security forces. The hooligans in the CRS have only made things worse by sending thugs to attack strikers and kidnapping targets they deem enemies of the state. Song Qingling never wanted this. An idealist at heart, she insisted on going the legal route to end Wang's tyranny, the only way she believes that a peaceful transition of power could be achieved. In any case, there should have been far more time. She had hardly been given a chance to govern. She has yet to assemble much of a cabinet, or even select a premier as talks continue between the major factions that made up the anti-Wang coalition. With the situation far from settling down, if anything, things have gotten worse over the last few days. It seems like China's new president faces a daunting challenge to her authority. The end of the Third Congress seems it will not be the end of the Congress or the conflict rolling the party state. Alright. Your country has no active balance of power anymore, I suppose. Very interesting. And I guess the fuckers took Shanghai, which is a bit annoying, because I would really want to take that at some point. Anyway, I really don't know exactly who's going to prevail out of all of this, because, again, I don't know the mechanics by heart of all of this. The last one did fuck me over in proportional to radical socialist popularity, and radical socialists right now are very popular, so actually the stability wasn't affected nearly as much as it could have been. It seems like our stability level is still very high, and I wonder if our stability level is going to influence just how bad things are going to get in the near future. We'll see. The coalition wavers. So, as the situation worsens and a resolution remains elusive, cracks have emerged between the victorious factions that ousted Wang Jingwei. Shocking reports of violence and persistent disagreements between the governing coalition has given CSP leadership and many RCA moderates who defected from Wang's camp cold feet. The members of the World Society, who appear to be the most loyal to the PAC's coalition, have also expressed concerns about the authoritarian measures used to suppress protests, even as the government ails. The incorrigible Reconstruction faction are exploiting the moment, with Sun Fo aggressively pushing for the end of tutelage and the holding of new elections. In his words, well, there goes the fucking legation cities. The only way to resolve the persistent disagreements within the party is to hold a national vote. As if that was not the point of the Third Congress. He and his affiliate, I fucking hate the liberals. He and his affiliates, thankfully they're pretty weak, so I don't think they're going to come out on top in any way. He and his affiliates have already been seen courting intellectuals and various center-right Republicans working to corner the non-socialist vote. Well, fuck off, Sunful. You can fucking die for all I care. Anyway, tragic news has reached the Central Executive Committee as War Minister Li Jishen was found dead by a patrol, having been kidnapped and murdered by extremists. After over 2 weeks of unabating instability, this was the last straw. Strong-arming the rest of the CEC, Song Qinling was appointed Deng Yangda as the new commander-in-chief of the National Revolutionary Army, ordering him to take command of the Military Affairs Commission. Just like the CCP, we have a Military Affairs Commission. The party commands the gun! In rapid succession, arrest warrants have been issued for Wang Jingwei, Chen Gongbo, Zhou Enlai, the Gu brothers, and other RCA grandees for sedition. Warned in advance by remaining loyalists in the Executive Yuan, almost all named targets have fled the capital southwards to loyalist strongholds in Hangzhou. With the help of Mei Seping, who the fuck is Mei Seping? The governor of Zhejiang, and sympathizers in the army, they have launched a desperate rebellion. Garrisons across the 5 provinces have reported conflicting orders and outright mutinies, while others weigh their options. For most, however, the army establishment has remained firmly in Song's camp. While in the public, the PAC's coalition's partners have closed ranks behind President Song and her champion. Behind closed doors, they have made their resentment clear. They've demanded Song honor her promises of being a much less authoritarian leader than Wang, helping to form a consensus rather than rule by fiat. On the other hand, many members of the WMA RCA have called for decisive action, and the Central Affairs Commission has offered to lend a helping hand in bypassing partisan bickering if it helps stabilize the country. The Central Affairs? What the fuck is the Central Affairs Commission? With the prospect of civil war looming, Song Qinling narrows on a decision. We need a unity government or enact emergency powers. Oh boy. We have a high stability. So maybe we can afford to not have a... Maybe we can afford a unity government. Because I'm feeling like if we... I'm feeling like that if we go for... Oh, for fuck's sake, the Japanese are back. I'm feeling like if we go for emergency powers, then we're just gonna, like... We're just gonna be trolled by... We're just gonna be trolled by, what's their name? The China Revival Society. The emergency coalition. Okay, so in every unity government, there is often a lot of yapping, and the CEC, the new CEC, the new Central Executive Committee, is a little different. Sun Fo and his Reconstruction allies whine about the socialist excesses and hawk constitutionalist principles as it suits them. Gu Mengyu, Pan Yuanchao, and other RCA moderates struggle to find their bearing in a changing republic, such as seen as traitors to Wang's camp and flip-flopping on major issues to compensate. Meanwhile, the League of Chinese Syndicalists remain hopelessly divided, with the Chengdu Xiu Lili San based Orthodox faction, yeah, of course they're based, and of the Chinese Syndicalist Party desperately fighting to control their own party. All the elders of the world society seem compatible enough, but often find themselves in their own world, high atop their ivory tower. Fuck them, murder them, send them to the fucking countryside. The PAC's control of the military has given them a major source of leverage, forcing these disparate factions to the negotiating table. The infighting within the party has long been detrimental to the war effort, and Song Qinling is unwilling to make the same mistake. Still, the civilians of the PAC, such as Zhang Bojun and Peng Zixiang, have begged her to reach out to their allies, placating at least some of their concerns. Although plenty of it is smoke, there are some valid questions as to of why we did what we did and whether or not the RCA's accusations against us have any weight. The diplomatic Chen Youren, party elder Peng Zemin, okay. I wonder if Jiang Zemin was named after him. And her brother Song Tzu-wen have all offered to mediate in talks. Ultimately, however, it is up to Song Qinling to demonstrate her leadership. She recognizes that many joined the opposition to Wang's rule for different reasons. Many hated his authoritarian style of rule and feared a party dictatorship under the RCA. Others resented the RCA's corruption, their tendency to twist major institutions to further their own, often personal ends. As she works to win over her erstwhile allies, she reminds them of why they fight. The fight against tyranny, giving me syndicalism and social liberalism, or the fight against corruption, giving me social democracy, social conservatism. I'm going to go for the syndicalism and social liberalism. All right. Let's also quarantine delegations, just in case, you know, another war with Japan happens or something. So, we're almost done with the Repatriated Congress. I can't wait to see exactly what's going to happen. Oh, bloody hell. Really? Really? Attrition? Can I unattrition here? Okay, there we go. Oh. Very interesting state of affairs. I guess build more bloody divisions. Huh. Is everything calm? We'll see. We still have 10 days. The end of the rebellion. So the fight against Wang's loyalist forces was hard fought but brief. Under Deng Yan'an's Huang Qixiang's brilliant leadership, rebelling National Revolutionary Army units were cordoned off and surrounded before they could reunite into a cohesive fighting force. The rest were hoarded into untenable strongholds besieged by considerably larger PAC-aligned armies. The rebellion had hoped that there would be a great uprising of political department, clique-oriented divisions, MMIC-trained young guard units, and independent-minded officers willing to fight back against the new government's overreach. But the Huangpu Military Academy Revolutionary Classmates Association held firm, and Deng Yangda ensured the bulk of the army remained loyal to Song's forces. With Hangzhou and a few other cities surrounded and little relief in sight, one by one they were forced to surrender. Unwilling to bear a siege and fearful that the PAC would begin shelling the city soon, Wang overruled his lieutenants and ordered his allies to lay down their arms rather than go down in a fiery last stand. Before the city fell, Chen Gongbo, Chen Xiaoyu, and other affiliated radicals took the last few tickets out of the country. The fleet has tacitly allowed them to depart unmolested. Which is a, you know, it's kind of a tradition in like Chinese political struggle, is that you generally kind of let your enemies escape if they want. This was very true in the Warlord era. It was actually also somewhat true in the Maoist period, even though there is the funny Lin Biao incident. And I'm going to talk about next time in the next video, because today we're not going to have time to do it at all, how this whole like Third Repatriated Congress thing seems to me a bit inspired by a few of the events in the 1950s in Maoist China. Anyways, okay. The next time a CEC delegation saw Wang and his wife, the former chairman looked haggard. He spoke politely even to Song, though avoided making eye contact, but seemed to be resigned to his fate. The broken man inspired pity in some of his old comrades, particularly Gu Mengyu's faction, who have joined with Chen Bijun to play for charity on his behalf. They recommend we use this international celebrity to send him overseas to live out his days in exile. Others, however, insist that this is a ploy by an experienced snake and demand he be brought to justice once and for all. Yeah, let's congratulations, Ambassador Wang. Action ceases the day. In the end, the Provisional Action Committee of the Kuomintang is provisional no more. Having toppled the tyrannical Wang Jingwei, Song Qingling and their allies are now stand as masters of a reach-forged China's fate. They have begun their rebranding process, calling themselves the Revolutionary Committee of the Kuomintang, which, okay, yeah, that's like the left KMT in real life, eventually split and called itself the Revolutionary Committee of the Kuomintang. And it still exists today in mainland China as the Revolutionary Committee of the Kuomintang, and, you know, they're still a party that's technically a thing and independent of the CCP and represented in the National Congress, etc., etc., etc. In an effort to assert themselves as the legitimate heirs of the party. The fallout of the Third Repatriated Congress has not been pretty at all. The political landscape is rapidly changing as people adapt to new leadership and the power vacuum that has emerged with the RCA's collapse. Many of the factions that had aligned with the PAC are not happy about the way the MWA-RCA flexed their military muscle, and their commitment to the Revolutionary Committee is wavering. Deng Yangda has emerged as an object of scorn for many within the party, jealous or fearful of his seemingly assured status as the second most powerful figure in the nation. And again, this also reminds me of Maoist China a little bit more actually when it comes to the Cultural Revolution, rather than, yeah, but in general Maoist China, in that like Mao was very unattackable, so oftentimes opposition focused on whoever the number 2 was at the time, whether it be, Liu Shaoqi, or, Lin Biao, Deng Xiaoping, etc., etc. Of the military wing, Huang Qixiang, Zhang Yunshan, and Guo Guangjie have been the most prominent. Of the civilian wing, Zhang Bojun, Peng Cexiang, Chen Xiaoren, He Xiangning, Peng Zemin now work to harness the PAC's legislative arm. Minor figures such as Li Xiju, Li Shihao, and Tao Xisheng find themselves in positions of power, and Song has sought the counsel of her brother Song Ziwen and her brother-in-law Kong Xianxi, H.H. Kong, in administrative affairs. Well, okay there. The Third Repatriated Congress is complete. And that's the end of the episode, because I've already gone on for 43 fucking minutes with the Third Repatriated Congress. Next time, we're gonna see what we have. We're gonna see what we've had. The Red Napoleon. Interesting. We're gonna see what we have sort of unlocked, and the two-stage revolution. Min Shangoming. Yeah, we're gonna see what we've unlocked. We're gonna continue the industrial reconstruction of China. We are going to do all the focuses and talk about what the hell just happened, what it reminds me of, what it was inspired by, what it wasn't, and I guess what we have in front of us. So for now, I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Take care, guys.